Welcome back to another The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And today I've got Torgue shields, which are quite odd, but quite interesting. I'm kind of a fan and not really a fan all at the same time. So let's dig in. Now, the first one is a Torgue booster shield, which is weird because typically booster shields are Dahl, not Torgue. But the Big Boom Blaster is a Torgue. It kind of makes sense because it drops stuff that helps with explosions, but it's weird nonetheless. So the Big Boom Blaster, compared to a regular Dahl booster, you see has a higher capacity, lower recharge rate and delay, but a higher booster chance. And when the boosters drop, they give you a grenade and a rocket, where the blast-proof boosters just give you extra shield. So yeah, it's a really cool booster shield, and it has a pretty good chance of dropping those, which is awesome if you want to run, grenade Axtons, or if you just, like to use rocket launchers and you don't really want to go around with a sham and do the Logan's gun or sham fleet and that stuff, but you'd like to have some more rockets. The Big Boom Blaster is a pretty decent way to go. It's not terrible in the capacity. The recharge rate's a little bit on the bad side, but almost all characters have skills to negate that and get that pretty low. So it's not a great shield, but it's not a terrible shield. And when it drops all those boosters, that helps your shield as well. So yeah, in general, not a bad piece of gear at all. I don't often use it, but I know some people that are pretty big fans of it for obvious reasons. So yeah, overall a pretty damn cool shield. Next, you have the Deadly Bloom, which is also a pretty cool shield, especially if you like to play close quarters. But it's a Nova shield, and Nova shields typically... Where am I? Here we go. So here you have similar stats. You have a worse delay, which kind of sucks. A lowered Nova, oddly enough, and a lower radius. But this one puts off 2 Novas. You get a Nova when your shields are depleted, and then again when your health is depleted. So if you die, you get that second Nova. So if you're playing up close, they knock down your shields and they knock down your health. You have a chance to hit them with 2 Novas instead of 1. It was supposed to be a legendary, but it turned out to be a purple for some reason, which is kind of awkward. But if you like the Nova shields, it's pretty cool. Not a bad one to throw on Death Trap either. But yeah, that's not really much else to say to it. It just gets 2 Novas, but Nova does slightly less. And then the last shield, this is a weird one. And, well, the Deadly Bloom and the Big Boom Blaster are pretty solid. This thing kind of blows. So, the Captain Blade's Manly Man shield adds explosive to your melee. You get a 40% explosives kind of splash damage added to your melee. Let me see if that works on the piano in there. And the weird thing is it's just based, I think, on your base melee, and it doesn't really get melee boosts. So you can't... Yeah, I don't see it here. You can't really boost it, which really sucks. I'm trying to think there's a place where I can get a singular enemy and travel to and try this. There is always the divide. Just go get a Bullymong and punch him. So this shield would have been really cool for people that wanted to do non-roid melee, but it doesn't really work out like that, sadly enough. So you can see it's hitting for 190, but it's not doing anything. really. And you can see here the Twister, I'm killing non-select enemies. I mean, I don't have any melee skills, but it's not really adding anything to my melee either. I just get rid of these enemies so they stop bothering us. Okay. So you saw there, it doesn't really do much damage. And because it's hard to boost that damage as well. I mean, I guess if I had an explosive relic on, but do you really want to put a relic on to boost 190k damage in OP8? That's kind of a waste of a relic. It would have been cool on Krieg, but Krieg likes to have his shield down for Assault the Wound and all this other cool stuff. So it's not really a good thing for Krieg. And, you know, Zero's just going to take the Roid Shield and do his deception thing. And it doesn't really get boosted by all Zero's melee skills, so that doesn't work there. It seems ill-conceived. If it was splash damage like guns, where, you know, it came after all those boosts, it would be cool. But then the other thing is, because it's a Captain Blade, it has a curse. And it's the curse of the elements. And that means you take more damage from elemental damage, and elemental damage already wrecks you in this game. So you're pretty squishy, and it's not that beefy of a shield either at just over 1 million. The delay is pretty nice, but it just doesn't really fit anywhere. It's not good enough to be a non-roid melee shield. It's a squishy shield, especially by taking more damage from elemental stuff, and that's the dumbest thing. Like, the drawback is so big and the bonus is so small that this shield's just a complete and utter miss. And that's sad, because it would have been really cool to have a concise, like, Captain Blade's build where you could wear all of his gear and maybe get a buff by wearing all of it. I know I've kind of talked about that before in the past, but if you had the Rapier, the Orphan Maker, is it the Midnight Star, his grenade, the shield, his relic, and yeah, there's no class mods. But it would have been really nice. Like, you see that in a lot of like loot games that, like Diablo, that this is based off of, or Torchlight, or Path of Exile, or any of those kind of looter RPGs. You see that themed gear where if you wear 2 pieces of that, you get a little buff, and 3 pieces more of a buff, and 4 pieces, etc. And if you wear all of it, you know, get a nice big buff. It would have been really cool to see that with the Captain Blade stuff. If we would have got like Captain Blade, maybe the class mods are pushing it, although that could have been really interesting. And I hope they take that idea into Borderlands 3, and that's kind of what these series are about. I know I've kind of stopped mentioning that, you know, hopefully this is for Borderlands 3 and stuff, but I really hope they continue with that stuff. Like, in the pre-sequel, when you got the Moxie stuff, you kind of got a set of it all at once out of that chest. And it would just be cool if there was a Moxie class mod too, and just 8 pieces of Moxie gear that you could wear, and then by wearing it all, you get an extra buff. And it would be cool if, same thing with Captain Blade and Sir Hammerlock. You know, like the Rough Rider could have been a Hammerlock shield, and then you have the 4 Hammerlock guns, and get a Hammerlock relic, and just go all Hammerlock. And since a lot of his stuff is kind of like that slow-firing, high-power stuff, you could get an extra critical hit bonus, or maybe damage reduction, since, you know, the Rough Rider is about that. Something cool. So yeah, I mean, I hope they keep with these things, because, like I said, I like the idea of, like, the Captain Blade build, wearing all Captain Blade stuff, but unfortunately there's not a lot of synergy between that stuff, except for it all has a curse to it. And while the Rapier is cool, the Orphan Maker is cool, the rest of it wasn't really that cool. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think of these shields. Like I said, the first 2, Big Boom Blaster, I think is a pretty awesome idea for a booster shield. It's kind of creative, it's interesting, and it works. The Deadly Bloom is definitely a nice take at the Nova shield, getting the Nova on your health going out for an easier fight for your life. Especially, you know, Gage, is a character that likes to play up close, so that could work with her. If you're just like a close quarters kind of guy, I know a lot of people like to fight that way. Sal and a lot of different characters. It works out really well, but the Captain's Blade Shield just doesn't really have a purpose. I even thought about doing it for my melee build, but not quite. So that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm just gonna kill some Bullymong because screw those guys. And I will see you guys later. Bye.